Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Josh Phoenix, and today we got some stuff to talk about. It's been nice. Had a few day break from the last time I posted a podcast episode up to now. I think the last time I posted was 5 days ago. So it's been a while, but happy President's Day to everyone. I had that break. It was very nice. I know I didn't post on Wednesday, but hey, I'm here. I'm here in the flesh. And yes, this is Thursday, but I'm going to be posting Saturday. I know. It's tough. It's going to be a little different, but it's just because this week had a quote unquote holiday in it. Want to take some time off, get recalibrated. Now I'm back. So pretty nice. If you guys haven't been checking out CourtSideHeat.com as much, I would highly recommend you doing that. Why? Because even though I'm not posting podcasts this week, I'm still posting on the site. I'm still getting that lovely engagement. And when I see more engagement, I mean there's more eyeballs. And the more eyeballs, well, hey, now more people can see it. When more people see it, you're getting fire content and really cool stories coming out of there, like what's going on with Doc Rivers, Jayson, Tatum. We're going to be talking about this stuff. But I'm just really happy you guys are enjoying the content. Really happy you guys are sticking along. So if you guys are only listening to podcasts, I encourage you guys to go to CourtSideHeat.com. But hey, if you're just a podcast person, by all means, listen to the podcast exclusively. That is great either way. Also, you can find the podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify, Google Podcast, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, all these other places. I don't care what platform you listened on. We are on there. I am on there. CourtSideHeat is on there. So just do it. Subscribe, leave a review. Do what you got to do to remember that the podcast is on that platform. But yeah, we're here. I'm here Monday, Wednesday, Saturday. Pretty nice deal. Remember, you can find the podcast also on X. The podcast can also be found on YouTube. Right? So there's more options. You also find CourtSideHeat on X. On X is really my most favorite platform to post on. So find me on X, CourtSideHeat. Trust me, you do not want to miss it. You do not want to miss it at all. So I think without further ado, that's just it for the announcements. Just trying to get through a shielding. So that's pretty much that. Yeah. I really don't think there's much to it. Also, hope you guys enjoyed the All-Star break. That was very interesting. I did not watch that horrific All-Star game. I think they had a 14% increase in viewership. Cool for the NBA, but that All-Star game was atrocious. You want to talk about no defense. That was it. I'm surprised we didn't have more 50-point performances. But on the East, we had 3 guys going into triple digits. We had on the West have Karl-Anthony Towns going for 50. Then of course Shea going for 31. Right? So all very interesting. I can't believe that. I can't, the defense is just so bad. I was trying to turn on my brain what I wanted to talk about for topic of the day. Should I go over the All-Star or should I try to cover Doc Rivers and the Bucks? Spoiler alert, the topic of the day is going to be answering the question, can Doc Rivers and the Bucks turn it around? I think that's more prevalent. I think it's more important than talking about the All-Star game. But I do believe turning into 5 teams of free, having a free that's gonna be pretty cool. Maybe East versus West. Whoever wins gets home court advantage in the finals. I've seen all these different ideas. But Dan and I was talking about all these different ideas. I'm really not gonna talk about it right now. I kind of just want to focus on what's going on this season. I want to focus on Jayson Tatum. I want to talk about the Nets. What's going on with the Nets? especially the firing of Jacque Vaughn. Want to talk about Mike Conley, got some injuries for its sake. Today's the return to the NBA from our extended break. I want to talk about Jalen Brunson. Mavericks fans, you're not going to want to hear this. Knicks fans, you're going to want to hear this. Then, of course, Doc Rivers and the Bucks. And since we're already talking about the All-Star game or All-Star weekend, let's just recap. Let's recap the weekend. So we know that East beat West 211 to 186. That was interesting. I'm not going to say that it was like, it was very meh. Like, I'm not going to try to crush it. It is what it is. Like, many people just did not like it. It was it was downright awful. But the rest of the events were so cool. So cool. I don't know if you guys felt the same, but for me, I felt really good. And everyone, 4.6 million people tuned in for All-Star Saturday. Up 31% from 23. So cool. Mac McClung, my guy Mac McClung, won the slam dunk contest. That was fun. I know it's a bunch of no names outside of Jalen Brown, right? And Yami Yaquez Jr. Yami Yaquez Jr. is not established him. He's a rookie, but I applaud him for coming in. He had some cool dunks. Jalen Brown, questionable dunks. Cool if you're paying homage. Like, there's a lot of homage-based dunks. So that's whatever. But Mac McClung was reinventing the wheel. Mac McClung was doing dunks not even the older generation players could do. Or even thought of. Like, this was a very creative-based, very unique dunk contest. And I thought Jacob Toppin, Obi Toppin's brother, was throwing it down nice. I really thought, like, him catching, like, Mac McClung catching that midair. So he caught it from the guy, picked up from the guy, then caught it, he threw it, caught it midair to himself, threw it to himself, caught it to him, caught it, and then slammed it in, I believe, behind his head. Like, you have to see that clip. That was just so cool. That was just so fun. Like, I know it was a bunch of no-names, but just take the dunks. There was some controversy, but overall, it was a pretty nice dunk contest. Not gonna lie. Damian Lillard, he won the 3-point contest. I know my last podcast episode was going over who I thought was gonna win all these events. I had Mac McClung winning it. I was right. I did not have Damian Lillard winning. I thought his skid was just gonna be too great. But no, him and Big Cat, they were going at it. You had him, you had Tyrese, you had a bunch of guys. But it was Damian Lillard who pulled out on top. Also, Trae Young. Him and Trae Young went at it. Him and Big Cat went at it. Tyrese was eliminated by Dame time. But you want to talk about being authoritative and just light up the competition. Damian Lillard could not have done any better. And the bar was being set at 26 to begin the first round or going into the second round. Like, that was where the bar was at. Marketing balled out. You had Brunson. There was guys. I thought it was either going to be Tyrese or Brunson, to be honest. Honestly, if that since that's where we're at. But I thought that was pretty cool. So it was very, like, I was entertained. Like, every shot, I was shocked by what was going on. I was at the edge of my seat. It was much different than what was going on during the game. But the 3-point competition, I love. I really do. The 3-point competition, you just can't beat. And when you see Damian Lillard going back to back, and then him probably going for a three-peat, which I think will be the first time in NBA history, if I remember correctly. But that award-winning round, Like, when people doubt him, he rose to the occasion. And I was one of those guys. But Dame time is real unpredictable. What looked like he was going to miss the final 2 racks of shots, he entered clutch mode and knocked down the money ball as time was expiring. Only as Dame time could. I think he was leaving it to hang as well. Like, it was beyond incredible. Like, beyond incredible. Even Giannis was loving what Dame was doing. Like, it was just so fun. There was even controversy with Big Cat, Carl Towns. And while he got 16 points in 30 seconds, that's very impressive. Very, very impressive. His foot was on the line at least 3 times. And I found it really funny that the ref counted that. That just tells you where officiating's at. Just really funny. Sums up like where the refs are at all this season. But man, Dame's Mr. Clutch. But I was wrong on that. Again, I thought it was gonna be Tyrese or Jalen Brunson. I also thought it was gonna be Team All Stars beating um the other 2 teams in the skills competition, but it was Team Pacers. I counted out Team Pacers. I'm sorry, I counted out Tyrese Halliburton. That was my fault. I love the fact that Tyrese Halliburton is that dude. He said goodnight and he just drilled the half court shot. Like, he literally has ice in his veins. There is no joking about that. So that was pretty incredible. And he left it out to hang. Like, he knew that was going in. And can I just say, not to get off topic, the court, the LED featured court, was just so cool. Like, the NBA is truly living in a different universe with their innovation. It is beyond spectacular. I am definitely excited about that. It was just so cool. Like, just seeing the NBA All-Star festivities lighting up with the LED court, man, you could not make that up. You really couldn't make that up. So that was very, very fun. Very, very fun thing. If you guys did not watch All Star Friday, I did not. I was not able to catch it. I was out with my family, but Ben Mather had a night. He won MVP. He won Rising Stars MVP. He got shouted with MVP chants. Pretty cool night to have. Pretty cool night. Also, Sabrina Ionescu and Stephen Curry put on a show. Like, they legit put on a show. Woo! And Sabrina was shooting from the 3-point line. She broke all barriers. And she shot from the line. She put pressure on Curry. But because Curry is arguably the greatest shooter of all time, he just channeled. He channeled his inner greatness. And she put up 26 points. Like, she was doing what the other men were doing. Like, she would have tied. She would have been able to go into a tiebreak. Like, she was doing great stuff. And Steffi admitted he knew the pressure was on when Sabrina put up those 26 points. He knew that pressure was building when he didn't make either of the long shots during his run. But he was still able to beat her by 29 to 26 margin. Both competitors were very good. Both competitors said that they want and they hope that events like this will continue to be a part of the All-Star weekend going forward. And I would love that. Like, I would absolutely love that. Like, no hate, I would love that. This was so much fun. I know I count Sabrina, and I know I questioned if she could shoot from an NBA line. She proved me wrong in that. I thought it would be more difficult. Not at all. Sabrina is one heck of a basketball player. She should be treated with the utmost respect because of how talented she is, how much she puts into her craft. It was truly incredible to see one of the faces of the WNBA and one of the faces of the NBA collide together. Honestly, it was really fun. And I think it was Kenny Smith being a loser with his comments, but I thought she did amazing. She outperformed. Like, I agree with Reggie Miller. She broke through barriers. She broke through the expectations and limitations. It was very cool to see. I am very happy that I was able to watch that. I was rooting for Sabrina because I wanted her to beat Steph, but I'm just a Steph guy, so I just had to keep it going with Steph. So I was only able to hit on 2 of my 5 predictions, if including the All-Star game, but hey, not bad. I had my reasoning behind all of them, but hey, it's still nice. It's 40%, but whatever. Under 50, but still fine. It's whatever. It's whatever. So really fun. So that was like the recap of All-Star weekend. Very, very excited. Very, very excited. That was very. I should watch that again. I should watch the Brianescu and Steph Curry go out again because that was fun. I genuinely mean that. Like I was so glued to my TV. Now I gotta kind of pivot. I gotta go to more depressing stuff. You want to call it depressing? Maybe a little more frustrating. Not so much head scratching. Like when it came to Adrian Griffin's departure from the Milwaukee Bucks, but Jacque Vaughn, he was fired. And Sean Mark said a lack of energy and effort, especially when it came to effort plays, led to his departure. Players were frustrated and confused by his in-game decisions. And apparently, Vaughn wanted Ben Simmons to lead this team, to run the team. And that kind of confused players like Spencer Dinwiddie when he was on the team, and Mikal Bridges. And you could see that when he just was not letting Cam Thomas play to his full potential, when he was dropping multiple 30 and 40-point nights. So there was a lot of questionable actions happening. I don't think Jacque Vaughn was the right coach. I think he made a lot of in-game issues. For it to be Ben Simmons, because you're like, well, you couldn't really bring up the argument of Mikal Bridges of not knowing the potential of Mikal Bridges because statistically he was beating out Ben Simmons, especially in 2022-23 in the first half, in the first 56 games with the Suns, then in the 27 games with the Nets. Like, he was making that a leap. And now he still is with 21, 5 free, and almost a steal. Even with Dinwiddie. And Dinwiddie was bad. Like, Dinwiddie's been bad. Like, he's not been good. But also, I think he could have been a little better if Vaughn wasn't placing all these limitations on him, right? But they wanted to go with Ben Simmons, which was questionable. Like, the guy's not who he was back in like his rookie season, second year season. No, he's just a 6'8" guy, which is very good. Like, if you get a 6'8", he just has a different role now. You just can't lead a team like that. You understand? You can't lead a team like that. You can't command a team. You can't apply pressure the same way that Mikal would. Or even when Dinwiddie wasn't struggling, like Dinwiddie would. So, very, very interesting. I found an enormous red flag, a very alarming thing that Jacque Vaughn was trying to make Spencer Dinwiddie and Mikal Bridges the lower guys and Ben Simmons the primary guy. Like, hey, you're going to do this. You're going to run the offense. You're going to run this team. That to me was concerning. That to me was head scratching. But it makes sense. Sean Marks didn't like his energy. The in-game decisions were questionable, like very, very questionable. Uh, yes, but yeah, it's just that. So was he the worst? No, but the Nets also feared that if we keep him, then nobody, and I mean nobody, is gonna want to come. Like bigger talents are gonna want to come and be with the Nets under Jacque Vaughn. So they thought that was going to be a turnoff. They thought that was going to be a negative experience, right? So they just couldn't have that. So Jacque Vaughn is out. Jacque Vaughn is no longer with this team. They have promoted Kevin Ollie to interim head coach. Kevin Ollie is very decorated. I believe he is a former player. I'm trying to look up his position that he did play, but he is a former player. So he gets that aspect. He did coach UConn. He's been coaching since 2012. He played in the league for 15 years. So even though he went undrafted, remember he did this for 15 years. So take it as you will, and I know he played for a lot of teams, but from 2012 to 2018, he was a UConn guy. And he won a championship there. So very, very cool. And also it was very cool that according to Wikipedia, he was only one of 4 African American coaches to ever win an NCAA men's basketball championship. So pretty historic. All in, so pretty cool. He definitely has the knowledge as a player and as a coach. And he was not bad. Like 2002 and 2002-03 was his best season. Was. But yeah, anyways. He just played with a bunch of teams. But no, going beyond that. He's a good interim. Will they hire him? I don't know, but he's been a very good assistant. He's been soaking in all of his knowledge. He has so much knowledge as an assistant, as a player, as a head coach, as a part-time coach, right? So he has this going on. I think that the Nets can win under him. Because honestly, who do you have? Like, you have Boonholzer out there. You have guys out there. You have Terry Stotts out there. Right, just available guys have been fired in the past or just recently. Adrian Griffin would be a good one for the Nets. I think the Nets players, I think that locker room would reciprocate and understand his mentality more than what the Bucks did. So I don't know. But if you want to go to Kevin Ollie route, okay, I wouldn't hate that either. But so has not worked out from Steve Nash to Jacque Vaughn, I can tell you that. And no disrespect to those two guys, but they just did not pan out well. Especially when they're like, oh, we can rebuild a certain player like Ben Simmons or like somebody else, right? But finally, Cam Thomas can finally be free because now he can finally start reaching his full potential. Steve Nash? Nah, not really. Vaughn? No, not really. So hopefully it's different on Ollie. If not, Thomas, I'm sorry. So let's be honest, Cam Thomas is not bad. Sure, can he be rough at certain times? Is he inconsistent? Yes. But when he's consistent, when he's putting together his performances, he's still giving you 21, 2, 2 a game. In almost 30 minutes, right? So I know he's inconsistent, but look, you're gonna have that. He's only in his 3rd year. And I know you want him to take that leap, and statistically he is. I just know the inconsistency could be killing. I know it could be detrimental. You know what also is detrimental? The Mavericks rejecting Jalen Brunson's contract offer of 4 years, $55 million. Not once, but twice. Did you guys hear me? I don't know if you guys did or didn't, but not once, but twice. And it was 4 years, $55 million. His current contract is 4 years, $104 million. That just hurts. You had him at a discount, and you're going to reject him twice. The 27-year-old twice. Man. Like, he has been that guy. He's averaging 27, 3, and 6. You're telling me it wouldn't work with him and Doncic? Maybe now you don't bring Kyrie. But let's say you do and you have all 3. Who knows how that would have worked out, but I think that pains Mavericks fans because he was blossoming. Like, he was turning, you could see the full potential that he was having, especially in 2020 and 2021. but then it just exploded. He's in his second season with the Knicks. And he's been having like this superstar status ever since. And he's getting superstar money ever since. Like 4 years, 104. Like when his next contract comes up, he's only going to be like, what, 29, 30? And he could definitely make around or about 180, 190, even 200 million. He's not going to be an unrestricted free agent until 2026 if he accepts his player option. So next season is his final season until his player option. Then he can just do whatever he wants. I have a feeling if this trend continues and playing well and being a superstar caliber player, he goes in 2024, 25, okay. And then when it comes time for the player option, he declines it, signs a longer deal. That's how I think it's going to go. I'll never forget when the Mavericks had him for 4 years, $6 million. Never will forget that contract as long as I humanly live. So that's where we're at. That is where we are at. Just so crazy. Absolutely so crazy. I think that I really do believe that, man, I think the Mavericks should have held on to him. Who's better, him or Kyrie? You probably have to go Kyrie, right? I don't think there's like any other way to put it. I I really do like Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson to me is a guy that you could just ball with, that you could rock with. Like he's also a really good podcast host. I think he has a, isn't it him and Josh Hart? I thought so, but don't quote me on that. Don't quote me on that. I thought it was like the roommates podcast, roommates show, whatever it is. Anyways, so Brunson definitely, I still can't believe you didn't reject him just once, but twice. Like, how much were you wanting for 4 years? 20 mil, 30 mil, 40 mil? Like, where were you at Milwaukee or not Milwaukee? Where were you at Cuban? Where were you at Dallas? Like, where are you at? Where is your mental at? Like, where is your headspace? Honestly, like, you can't fumble that hard. Absolutely insane. On the flip side, the Timberwolves did not mess up with their guard like the Mavericks did. Mike Conley has agreed to an extension with the Timberwolves. The deal is 2 years worth $21 million. He was set to be a free agent this offseason, so there was urgency. And Mike Conley is such a good veteran. Mike Conley is such a traditional point guard. It's phenomenal. I absolutely love it. I know he's 36. He's probably starting to near the end of his career. This probably is going to be his last multi-year contract. I can't see him playing past the age of 39, 40. Or this could be his final contract, right? But, man, you want to talk about a guy that's consistently giving you like 14 and 5 a game, 10 and 6 a game, whatever you want it to be with a couple of boards. Man, that's pretty cool. And I don't know if you guys remember his time in Memphis, then a little bit in Utah. Those were like the glory years. And he's now just being that leader. He's being that veteran presence. And he's still giving you good nights. Consistently good nights. Especially as a playmaker. So very, very smart to give him a deal. To give him an extension. That's going to be like, what, 10 and a half per year? Let me do the quick math on it, but I thought it was like, yeah, 10 and a half per year. Like, I want to, and it's like, this is going to be his lower contract. His last one was 3 years, 68 million. So this is definitely going down, but yeah, remember, you're going from 36 to 38 or however, going to 39, right? There was once a time where Mike Conley made 152 million. Pretty crazy if you think about it. Pretty crazy. Oh, I have to look at some things. I just wanna. I don't know. Anyways, I want to see. Did he ever suffer any major injuries? Because for the money drop off, I'm just curious. Hmm. I don't know about that one. I thought he suffered a major injury. Did Mike Conley suffer a major injury? I'm just looking this up. No, so when he was with the Jazz, he avoided a serious injury, but will still miss some time. Hmm. Back injury, expected to miss 6 weeks. That's when he was with the Grizzlies. So he's had his fair share of injuries. In 2022, he avoided a major knee injury. Okay, so I was just there. I was just looking up because I couldn't remember. And that's my fault. I'm not trying to be a casual or anything. I just had to verify because sometimes I get things blurred when it comes to injuries and certain point times. Like Gordon Hayward, easy, right? Joseph Nurkic, easy. Because I believe Joseph Nurkic was the one where he had his leg snapped. So very, very, very serious, right? So, anyways, that's that's where we're at on that end. So very smart move. Probably one of his final contracts, especially multi-year. I can't see him playing past 39. I just can't. Maybe I'm wrong. I want to be wrong because I love Mike Conley. I wish the Suns could get a Mike Conley. That's just me. Real quick, uh, let's talk about Jayson Tatum. Let's talk about Jayson Tatum. You know, perception, reality, blurring it all together, right? There's a lot that goes into judging a player, judging their actions, judging what they'll do next, how they'll do it, right? For Jayson Tatum, he said, people just judge me off whether I can win a championship. And it's true. He's been making deep playoff runs since he took over this league when LeBron was still on the Cavaliers. He said, quote, I understand no matter what I do in the regular season, I'm at that point where people just judge me off whether I can win a championship. I realize that. And it's like, all right, I just got to do it. End quote. Then he said in another quote, earlier, I was playing the game just to play the game instead of just thinking it. Now I go out, I understand who we're playing against, I know their scheme, what they're trying to do, which guys are in and out of the lineup. Learning from experience, I understand that I'm good enough that I can relax and defer a little bit. Then the fourth quarter comes and I can score 20 in the quarter. So now he's just adopting a different mindset. He understands the pressures that he has. Like, ever since he joined this league, they've been making deep playoff runs. And he's only 25 years old, but he's been in this league since 2017. Like, if you look up the 2017, 2018 Celtics, I can't remember if Isaiah Thomas was still on that team, but there was a time where you had the likes of Aaron Banks and Al Horford run that team. That was also when Kyrie was on the team. But you had a very young Jalen Brown and then a rookie Jayson Tatum, right? And that team made the postseason. And they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals, where they lost to the Cavaliers in 7. They almost made it to the finals. It would have been Warriors versus Celtics. Can you imagine how that would have went? Again, they made it to the semis against Milwaukee, right? But then you come to a time like in 2019 where Kyrie leaves. Now you're going into a better Marcus Smart, a better Jayson Tatum, a better Jalen Brown, a better whatever. So it's just working out. It's just being better. And it's really incredible because it's looking unfair. And it is a little unfair to have that much pressure, especially as a 25-year-old. But you got to remember, he's been in the league for a very long time. And he's just been that guy since he started. He's always been climbing. But I would make the argument that when Kyrie left, that was his team. That was JT's and JB's team. And undoubtedly so. Undoubtedly so. You can't handle it. And he's already taken him to the finals. He's had multiple conference finals appearances, right? So the right things are happening. Good things are happening. Now he's just got to figure out how to win the finals. And that 2022 finals was rough. That 2022 finals was rough because that was a Stephen Curry that was not going to lose, and he was trying to get another ring. He was doing it by himself. Of course, he had help. Of course. But that was a man on a mission. And there was just some struggles. There were some hurdles that they just could not grow past. They just could not move past, which is understandable. I would have loved to have known what the Celtics could do now if Ime Udoka remained. Now, I know the whole controversy behind that. I understand. But it's always interesting with the what ifs, right? So I'm not saying anything like that. I'm just saying that I would just find interesting of if Joel Mazzulla was not the head coach and it was in Udoka remaining. Now I think Udoka's going to do a great job in Houston as he's really hoping for a playoff push. All I'm saying is that, well, what if? And if I remember correctly, Joe Mazzulla was an assistant head coach that was the interim head coach that led to being the full-time head coach. I just fact-checked that, and yes, I am correct. And he has 3 years, 14 mil coming his way. That's his contract. So very, very interesting. I'm excited. I'm excited for the future of JT. And I know he has those pressures on him. No doubt does he have those pressures on him. But that's kind of where you're at in life when you've been playing at that elite level. That's just where you go when it's like, okay, you already made Eastern Conference Finals appearances multiple times. You've already done these things. You've been in the spotlight for so many years, and now it's just expected you win a championship. And when you go into a championship setting and don't do it, you don't get a job done. Okay, now there's a little more pressure. Now you really got to put it together. Now you really got to work it. I hope that makes sense. I hope that does make sense. And just because I want to talk about it, I'm not going to bash Glenn Rivers. Just it gets really annoying. I hate Doc Rivers, how he just becomes the most annoying person. I've always hated Doc Rivers. Like, he won a fluky championship. Like, that 2000 that Celtics team, that was a very good Celtics team. Like, that was a Celtics team that was unstoppable. Doc did nothing. Doc is a loser. But in the past couple of days, we've seen him throw the Bucks roster and ownership under the bus in Kawhi Leonard. Like, it is so sad, like, when he's like, I attempted to influence Kawhi Leonard's perspective on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's potential. Really? He's like, quote, I even brought up to Kawhi. Are you sure? I think Shai's going to be an amazing player. It may take a year or two, but I think you're underestimating how good. Right? Really? We've never seen something like this where guys taking ownership, taking out a roster, and taking out a former player as well. The dude's actually a certified loser. He's a really bad head coach. They got lucky by being on the right team at the right time with the right talent. Not to his credit. But to make foolish statements like this and then to say, well, I was trying to understand. I told the Bucks that they were wrong for letting go of Adrian Griffin. And he tried to take the high and mighty road, the all self-righteous road, whatever path. It just gets old after a while. It gets old. I know you questioned it, but you're not gonna pass that up. And I love how he told ownership when they called, and I know he said, I don't understand why you're doing this. And he said, well, it doesn't matter. We've done it now. We want you. That was the Bucks' rationale, according to Mr. Glenn Rivers. I don't know. He's an interesting specimen, honestly. And when you look at some of these coaches, and you're like, really, that dude? And we've had some really bad coaches. Luke Walton was an interesting coach. Let's just put it that way. But you're actually kidding me. You really threw under the bus Kawhi. You really threw under the bus the roster and ownership. Like, where's the accountability? And I'm happy JJ Redick was speaking on this. I know he got pushed back by his loser of a son, Austin Rivers, and Pat Bev, who's just trying to earn those minutes in the good graces of Rivers. But still, understand. Like, all this dude does is never take responsibility, never has accountability, always cries, always makes excuses, like blah, 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 blah. Shut up at some point. You're a loser. Your record as a coach is horrible besides that fluke championship you earned. All because you're on the right team at the right time with the right talent. You did nothing but hold a clipboard and be a male cheerleader, an overweight male cheerleader, a fat loser cheerleader. Really? We're doing this? Woohoo, yeah, you proven. How many times were you up 3-1 and you blew it? Right? Like, do we have to remind you of your past? It's insane. I can't believe we got to this part. I can't believe that he's just trying to save himself by destroying his current team and his past superstar player. I can't believe that. That's actually baffling. Anyways, I'm not going to keep bashing on Doc Rivers. I just wanted to bring that to your attention. Like, this reminds me of all the times LeBron James was lying or embellishing truth or just trying to be that guy that he's not. So crazy. So crazy. So crazy. Anyways, all that aside, let's get to some injuries for today's games, for Thursday's games. Before we get into the topic of the day, which does concern Doc Rivers and the Bucks. Right? So we gotta talk about it. We gotta talk about it. Good news, Suns fans. Bradley Beal is set to return against the Mavericks. I know he's been dealing with that hamstring issue. He's been dealing with some issues, but he's looking to be back. The Suns are taking on the Mavericks. I wish I could be watching that game at 5:30. I cannot. I have other commitments that I have to be attending to, right? It hurts me more than what you guys understand. I wish I could be seeing that, but I will be there for the Suns Rockets game. I'll hopefully blow the Mavericks doors off. Honestly, But yeah, so Brad Beal is set to return. We're gonna have the big three again, coming out of the break strong. Also, D-Book and KD had some good All-Star performances. Bad news for the Lakers. LeBron James is expected to miss today's game against the Warriors due to his left ankle. He was like having to clean up. He was just touching it up. So after all of that, he's just not going to be there. Again, I wish I could be seeing all these games. I can't. But you best believe, especially if the Suns win, I'm going to be rewatching it. I'm going to be watching the Lakers game. Just am. Want to see the Warriors? I maybe. I may kick back tonight when I get home. Watch some of these games. Watch on the League Pass. Love the League Pass. And just go with the flow, right? Like, seems pretty nice. Pretty simplistic. Like, can't hate on that. So that's where I am with LeBron James. That's where I am with Bradley Beal. Now, guys, let's get into the topic of the day, which is, can Doc Rivers and the Milwaukee Bucks turn it around? And you're like, this is insane. They have a playoff spot. What you mean? Like, if you're just taking it where they're at right now, and they're third in the East, they're 3-7 since Doc took over. And when you're looking at the Knicks and 76ers and Pacers, that can get a little ugly. There's only a 4-game difference between them and the Pacers, a 2-game difference between them and Philly, and a game and a half between them and New York. Can they shake off the cobwebs? Can they do it? Like, I don't know. I went through this before in a little bit. You can't beat the Celtics. And when we're looking at, because I asked a question, and I answered it in my own way. I said, who is the most dangerous, deadliest team in each conference? Who would it be that you can't stop? You would not want to face. They're just born assassins. I said the Celtics in the East. And I believe it was the Clippers in the West. I have to look again. But for the East, it was the Celtics, not the Bucks. The Bucks are just at a downturn right now. They're just they're mediocre. They're meh. They're not good right now. And I know they're trying to make it better. But right now, it's just not working. It's just not working. You got a Dame Time Malik, you got Chris, you got Giannis, and you got Lopez. And I know Middleton is still with his injury, so it gets a little dicey. It gets a little complicating, if you know what I mean. The Knicks are hoping that they're healthy in a bit. But what happens if all these teams get healthy? Let's say you turn around and you make it to the postseason. You're gonna get first rounded. Let's say the Magic, let's say the playing tournament is over, and let's just go 1-8. Let's say the Bulls and Hawks don't matter. Let's just say they don't make the cut. So you're gonna have Celtics, Magic, Cavaliers, Heat, Bucks, Pacers, and the Pacers have beaten the Bucks several times. Tyrese Halliburton has their number, and now you have a worse head coach. You have talent that's just not there. And can Milwaukee beat them in the playoffs? Yes, but that's what they were also saying last year before they got first rounded by the 8th seeded Miami Heat and they had a battle without Tyler Hero. So all I'm saying is you can't underestimate them. Right? You just can't do it. You really can't count them out. But you can count out the Bucks. Honestly. Let's go through their schedule. Today. Oh, I'm sorry. When they play tomorrow, when they play them the Timberwolves. Can they beat them? The way they're playing right now, let's Dame Time can have a resurgence, and he's just killing teams left and right. Oh, can you beat Ant-Man, Big Cat, Gobert, McDaniels, Conley? Can you beat these guys? Can you? It gets dicey. How about Philly? Maybe. Because they don't have Joel Embiid, but they have Tyrese Maxey. They have Buddy Hield. They've got Tobias Harris. They have all these guys. I think you could beat the Hornets. Now, I know they added PJ Washington. I know you got Melo. I know you got Brandon Miller. I know you got Miles Bridges. I know you got all these guys on there. Like the way it's going right now, when you're just looking at pure, take out the records. Just look at the trends of the players and how they've been playing. I would think the Hornets take a game because they have a back to back from Tuesday and Thursday. That's their back to back. I think the Hornets take a game. I think it's going to be Milwaukee or Charlotte. I don't think it really matters. I think the Bucks can edge out the Bulls, and that's just because the Bulls are just so dysfunctional right now due to injuries and just due to other factors. I think they lose to the Clippers. I don't think they can beat the Clippers on March 4th or March 10th. I think they have a really tough time with the Wizards. I'm talking with the Warriors. I think the same could be said with the Lakers. The same could be said with the Suns. The Kings will be interesting. But if you're still going on this line of mediocrity and it's not progressing, it's just getting worse. What are we supposed to do then? Honestly, what are we supposed to do? Because if Giannis is playing the way he is, which is good right now, but Damian Lillard is just being inconsistent and really can't get it going. The bench is the young guys are Like, what are we going to be doing here? Can Brook Lopez step it up? Can Bobby Portis step it up? Has Bobby really been playing that well? Can Jay step it up? Can he be a little bit more physical? You gotta ask these questions because now we're heading to a point where they've already played through 56 games. Where they played for 56 games. And you only got what, 26 games left? This is make or break. This is make or break. You can't be on these losing streaks anymore. You can't be on these bad skids. You can't beat the Nuggets. But they get brutalized by the Heat. Now it was an off game for the Nuggets. I don't know what happened. Yeah, that was not the Nuggets type of basketball at all. And it's cool that you blew up the Hornets, but you lost to the Timberwolves. You lost to the Suns. You lost to the Jazz. You lost to the Portland Trailblazers when that was Damian Lillard's return. You lost to the Cavaliers. Well, in the Cavaliers back-to-back from the 24th of January to 26th of January, they split it. Both were in Milwaukee and they split it. So you understand what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that when you're looking at their schedule, can they turn around? Yes, but there's gonna come a time where if they keep losing, or if they split series, or if they're splitting, they go 500 next 10 games. There's no guarantee that the Knicks don't take them for fourth. And if you keep dropping, you're killing yourself. And I don't believe Doc Rivers. I think Doc Rivers can get walked over because he's just, let me just let the players do whatever they want. Let the players do whatever they want. Giannis is not that guy. Dame is a little bit, but Giannis is definitely not that guy. Damian Lillard, yes. And if this locker room's already hitting frustration points, and Doc Rivers is already talking bad about the roster and ownership, and doing what Doc or what Glenn does, I don't know. Like, if the locker room's not feeling him, And there's divide, and there's tension, there's anger, frustration, sadness, and a hidden depression coming in. You're not expected to make the finals. You're not expected to go to the conference finals. You're not expected to get out of the first round. Like, they did not bring in Doc Rivers so they could be mediocre and they could drop out and they can be very inconsistent. They don't want to be first rounded. That's not going to help ownership. That's not going to be a great view for ownership. That's not going to be a great view for management, right? If you're crying out loud, you have 3 head coaches on your payroll. Budenholzer, Griffin, and now Rivers. It's incredible when you put it that way. But I think the Miami Heat right now are better. They have better continuity, they have better consistency, they have better intensity, they have better everything than the Bucks. They're 6-4 in the last 10, keeping it simple. The Knicks are just finding their way. I know they have a 4-game losing streak, but the Knicks are going to find their way, especially when they're healthy. Like, I'd rather take the Knicks than the Bucks, or I'd take the 76ers than the Bucks, or I'd take the Pacers than the Bucks. Like, there's teams I'd rather take over. Like, you understand where I'm coming from. This is not good. This is not favorable. In fact, this is the exact opposite of favorable. Can the Bucks turn around? Sure. But the bench is gonna have to tighten up. Damian Lillard's gotta shoot more than 20, gotta shoot better than 29% from deep. The Giannis cannot be beating him out in the year of 2024. Malik Beasley's fine, but there's also a lack of discipline. I don't know how much accountability and responsibility is being taken by these players and coaches. Doc Rivers especially not taking any, but by the players. Like, this could turn dysfunctional so quickly. You could have like a mini Chicago Bulls scenario playing out in Milwaukee. Defense is out of control. Like, there's certain things that you need to anchor down. I just don't know. Like, can they turn it around? Maybe. But right now, it's just not cutting it. Like, if you're only able to beat really bad teams or mediocre teams like the Hornets and Bulls, but you're struggling against like the Clippers, 76ers, Timberwolves, teams in your own conference, or if you make it to the finals, the teams that you have to face, that's not good. That's just simply not good. That's gonna be a really hard time for this team. It's gonna be a really hard time. It's gonna be a rude awakening. I don't know. There's not one easy fix. There's not one thing Doc Rivers can do, Glenn Rivers can do to fix this, to make this all go away. Defense has been a problem ever since they traded Jrue Holiday. That was not Adrian Griffin. He was just used as a scapegoat. Like, there are things that the team is failing as a whole. Like, it's very fascinating, and it's borderline sad. It's depressing. It's not good. But anyways, those are my thoughts. I know I'm going to be revisiting this topic like in the next week to 2 weeks. This is just how it's going to be. The Bucks are the most interesting team for all the wrong reasons. Started at what, 30-13? And now they're just progressively getting worse. Like, this is something I was not expecting to see from the Bucks. Especially after eclipsing 30 wins. Especially when it looked like things were cooking in their direction. All because feelings got hurt. All because they could not wait to get rid of him because they did not want to play in his system. Or be coached hard. Like men. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Well, guys, that's all I got for today's podcast episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate everyone that's sticking in for the first half of the show all the way through to the very end. I truly do appreciate it. I hope you guys are finding this entertaining still. Again, if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, hit me up. Please. I love to know if I can make any adjustments or enhancements. Honestly, would love to do that. So, guys, with that being said, this is all I got for today's podcast episode. And yeah, peace out.